I recently finished Honor Mode in Baldur's Gate 3, which got me 100% achievement completion in Steam, but as someone who enjoys challenging game experiences and breaking the mechanics of the game to complete them, Honor Mode was simply too easy. So I decided to make the game just a little bit harder. As you can tell by the title of the video, I'm trying to beat Baldur's Gate 3 solo, level 1, no tadpoles, with the extra difficulty options given in Honor Mode, but on a custom difficulty so I still have multiple save slots. What that means is no leveling up and all the benefits that brings, like better spells, class abilities, and feats, no recruitable companions in the party, summons are allowed as long as they are summoned by me, none of the illithid powers earned by consuming tadpoles, and Honor Mode exclusive difficulty including more difficult encounters and legendary actions and reactions. Before our campaign can begin, we first need to select our character. Looking at some of the bonuses unique to each of the origin characters, 3 options stand out to me. One is Will, who can earn the Infernal Rapier near the end of Act 2 by saving Mazora in the Illithid colony. The Infernal Rapier lets you cast Planner Ally Cambion, a level 6 spell that you would not otherwise have access to in this challenge. 2 is Gale, who has a few different bonuses. Playing as Gale will allow Tara to appear during your first long rest after crashing the Nautiloid, giving you the Ring of Evasion for extra survivability, and if you're a monster and kill her, the Tresson Collar, which allows you to cast Telekinesis once per long rest, a level 5 spell which can allow you for some extra cheesy early game options. Gale also has the Nether Resorb, which allows you to entirely skip the final boss fight with the Netherbrain at the end of the game. However, the option that I decided to go with is the Dark Urge. The Dark Urge gets a few unique benefits, including the Deathstalker Mantle, the Slayer form, Power Word Kill, as well as simply the ability to customize your character. Before meeting Withers, Will and Gale are both stuck with their initial classes, and they'll always be stuck as the underwhelming human man. After reviewing the race options, I decided to go with the Half-Orc, mainly for the racial feature Relentless Endurance, which allows us to regain 1 hit point instead of being downed when reaching 0 hit points. Because we will be playing solo, we will not have any companions to help us when we are downed, meaning that any time we are actually downed, it is a game over. So playing as a half-orc will allow us to cheat death once per long rest. And for my starting class, I decided to pick a Trickery Domain Cleric. Most of the spells that we pick don't matter right now, but I make sure to grab Guidance for Cantrip, and Sanctuary and Command as spells. Take special note of Sanctuary. This spell prevents enemies from targeting us with any attack until we harm another creature, although we can still take AoE damage. As the game progresses and we get severely outclassed by the enemies, many of our strategies will require this spell. With that, character creation is complete. Meet Liv'won, the level 1 half-orc cleric, clever I know, that will conquer all of Faerun. We can skip through most of the tutorial in the Nautiloid ship, but we make sure to take a pit stop to free Us. Us will help us make it through this prologue segment, as well as be a special tool to help us later. We then meet Lae'zel, who takes an unfortunate misstep and falls off the ship. Us is more than enough to carry us against these imps aboard the Nautiloid thanks to the Honor Mode buff that you get by technically being classified as an enemy unit. We skip past Shadowheart and make our way to the helm. We try to pick up as many Nautiloid tanks as we can on our way out. We managed to pick up 3 of these tanks before making our way to the front of the helm, ignoring combat thanks to Sanctuary. Exploring the beach on the crash site, we find this cool-looking hat, and far less interestingly, we find Shadowheart banging on this door to the abandoned temple. We let her know that we're going our separate ways, and watch her use her magic powers to disappear. Now we have our first interesting challenge, the 3 Intellect Devourers blocking our way. This fight is much too difficult for us solo at level 1, and normally you could just jump over this cliffside, but because of our low strength, we have no choice but to sneak around. But we do pick up another Nautiloid tank on our way. We kill a nearby Mind Flayer, then find this strange sigil with a hand sticking out of it. We indulge our dark urges and chop off Gale's hand and then leave him here to die. After a hearty hand-based meal, we take our first long rest, refresh our spell slots, and make our way to the Emerald Grove and meet Will. During the first round of combat, we learn the importance of casting Sanctuary before combat begins, but we manage to live our first turn regardless. Will and the adventurers outside the gate fight valiantly. Barth even throws us a healing potion to top us off. We decide to help out by casting Bless on Zev, Lore, Aridin, and Will. This buffs them up while maintaining our Sanctuary because we didn't actually damage any enemies. However, the humans are still outmatched, so we decide to make our escape before things get too dicey. The bugbear kills our buddy Barth, then Zakrug kills Aridin. Will gets taken out by an archer, and Ramira gets eaten by the warg. Zevlor, however, is safe up on the gate, takes out the remaining goblins one by one, while we are heroically cowering around the corner. Inside the grove, we tell Roland, Leah, and Cal to leave the rest of the refugees to fend for themselves and meet back up with the cleric Shadowheart, this time playing with a strange-looking artifact. She tells us that we
need a healer,
but we refuse this third opportunity the game gives us to recruit her. Heading further into the grove, Liv'won meets the bard Alfira, and the two of them share a beautiful moment, as Alfira teaches us how to play the lute, and we help her write a song for her late teacher. It's a real heartwarming moment that makes Liv'won's evil heart grow 3 times that day, so she decides to hold on to that lute that Alfira gave her for the rest of her travels. To quench
The vomitous gall within.
we convince Arabella to run from Kaga's snake Tila. I'm sure her parents will take it well. We head out of the grove and convince Britta and Andric to go fight an owlbear before making our way to the Blighted Village. Now comes the reason why we chose the domain that we did. Trickery domain clerics gain access to Disguise Self at level 1, so we disguise ourselves as a
drow,
to talk our way past the goblin ambush and to later gain access to the goblin camp. Before that, though, we take a detour to the apothecary's basement to pick up the Summon Quasit scroll and the Necromancy of Thay. If we learn the Summon Quasit spell as a sorcerer, warlock, or wizard, we get access to Shovel, a unique familiar who has the special ability to go permanently invisible at will, but we never actually use this because I'd rather be a cleric for the rest of the campaign, for reasons that you'll see. Also in the Blighted Village, we replace our cool-looking hat with this far less cool-looking haste helm. This will be a simple but effective helmet in the early game, but will have an additional use far later in Act 3. We convince Feather to let us free Barkus. Oh hey Barkus, how'd you get over here? Finally, we convince Lump to give us his horn to allow us to summon him and his friends in any Act 1 area to help us out in a fight. We then hop down a well and make our way underground. We have 2 goals here. 1, the Dark Amethyst that will allow us to open the Necromancy of Thay, and 2, a path to the Underdark. Here's the first time that I use a cheese strategy that I like to call the Mario Kart Double Dash. We double cast Dash and then put the game into turn-based mode. Then we cast Sanctuary and use Dash once more. We walk forward, triggering combat. When we enter combat, our Haste Helm activates, giving us 3 stacks of momentum, bringing our total movement speed up to a massive 180 feet. This lets us run straight past all of the enemies and into the Phase Spider Matriarch's chamber. Another few turns of dashing pass, and we pick up the Dark Amethyst. Now, to reach the Underdark, we cast a Scroll of Featherfall and leap down the hole. We also make sure to jump down this ledge here, skipping the bullet fight before the Featherfall runs out. We enter the Myconid colony and meet Blurg and Ameloum. Both of these merchants have important items for us to buy. We sell some junk to Blurg in exchange for the Psychic Spark, a necklace that will allow us to cast Magic Missile with an additional projectile. However, before Ameloum will sell us what we need, he asks us to make a
tincture distilled from a collection of rare mushrooms.
We talk to Thella and give her an antidote in exchange for the Boots of Speed, boots that will allow us to cast a dash as a bonus action. Around now is when I remove my disguise and open up the Necromancy of Thay. Passing a few saving throws grants us the Forbidden Knowledge permanent passive, which gives a +1 to Wisdom saving throws and ability checks. A minor but decent buff. Exploring the Underdark, we come upon the Arcane Tower. We use our double dash strat to run past the first 2 turrets and make it straight to the front door. We lockpick our way inside and head to the north balcony. We end our turn in range of this turret, but thanks to Sanctuary... it turns out that these turrets can just completely ignore Sanctuary. A bit of smarter pathing later, we make our way to the north balcony and find the Chest of the Mundane, a magic chest that lets us transform items inside into simple items. We pick it up and send it to camp for later use. Inside the chest were the Mistress Grace boots, which allow us to cast Featherfall, which we immediately ignore as we use another Scroll of Featherfall to jump down the west balcony. We pick up the
collection of rare mushrooms
the Ameloum requested and the Club of Hill Giant Strength, which will set our strength score to 19 while equipped. Until we get a better option, this will be our early game weapon of choice. We return to Ameloum and hand him the
mushrooms.
rewards us with a potion that will evolve our parasite. This gives us access to the Survival Instinct Illithid ability, which gives us another way to cheat death for 3 turns as an action. Now, if you think this is cheating because it's an Illithid ability, fair, but I did say no tadpole abilities, and we didn't technically consume a tadpole to get this ability, so I'd say it's fair game. And if you disagree with me, you can do this challenge by yourself without it. Also, after completing a Mellowim's quest, we buy the Boots of Stormy Clamor and the Amulet of Misty Step. The amulet will obviously let us cast Misty Step, which gives us some more mobility options. The boots are important, but not right now. In fact, we'll be sending these boots to camp and not touching them again until Act 3. Finally, before leaving the Underdark, we meet Dareth Bonecloak, who asks us to find her husband Balin, who is trapped in a field of Bibberbang. Now we have to be very careful here not to trigger the Bibberbang, or else... Hey, if you read Dareth's journal later, you find out that he was an abusive husband, so frankly it was kind of deserved.